All right, it's another travel day. We're going to leave the Armitage County Park in Coburg, Oregon, which is just outside of Eugene, Oregon, where we spent the last 2 weeks. And we're going to head south about 160 miles, where we're going to spend 3 weeks. So the Armitage County Park, you saw the review on it, no doubt. It's a nice park. We really enjoy our stay there. We've been there, I don't know, 3 times in the past at least. I'm sure we'll come again. The only thing on exit is they don't trim their trees enough. When I'm out and doing a little walk around here a second ago, I happened to notice I had a couple more scrapes down the side of the coach that weren't there before. And it's because of the limbs in that park. They were not there before. I wipe our coach down all the time. I know where every scratch and issue there is on this coach. And I have a nice little long scratch. Hopefully I can wipe it out when we get to our next destination. I hate that kind of thing. Anyway, other than that, it's a great park. We really enjoy it. So this is not my kind of travel day. Once we get out of town here, we get on the freeway. And we are going to drive the freeway 145, 150 miles of our 160-mile day. Not our kind of travel day, but once in a while you just have to have them. So ride along with us. We'll share a little bit of information as we go. What else can I say? Enjoy the ride. Alright, so we took a couple back roads out of the park. Now we're headed up here we're on Beltline right now. We're going to take this little on-ramp, jump on the freeway, I-5 south, and let the day continue. How's everything look back there?
It all looks perfect.
Alright, away we go. Alright, I'm going to try something a little bit different today. I'm going to use the Osmo Action, the original Osmo Action, on the ram mount, suction cup mount on the windshield, facing inward into the cab. And I'm going to use the Osmo Action 3 mounted on the Bullet Point Mounting Solutions mount for everything shooting outside. I usually do it reversed, kind of mix it up. But I'm going to leave it like this and see how it works today. You let me know what you think. I know right now I kind of have half sun on me and half shade. I can't tell in the monitor what it's really doing. And I'm pretty sure the one up front is shooting great photos. So anyway, let me know what you think about this. Now, as much as I dislike freeway travel days, at least up here in Oregon, a lot of the freeways are very scenic. Just give you an idea of some of it right here. I know some of you that are watching this video get pretty interested in the performance of this Ram 5500 pull-on fifth wheel. So I want to share a little something with you. Let me give you an idea. So last summer when we left Arizona, we angled our way up through Kansas, up into Michigan, over to New York, up through Vermont, up into Maine, from Maine all the way down to Florida, and then Florida to Arizona, and then from this summer from Arizona up to Oregon, and then once we hit Oregon, we went over to Redmond, Oregon, over to Eugene, Oregon. Now we're headed south again. I don't know the exact miles and right now what that would add up to. I'll put it right up here on the screen. Once I get doing my editing, I'll figure that out and give you an idea. But all of that driving, the truck was hooked up to the fifth wheel, I'm going to say 98% of the time. We always use Diane's car for touring. So the only time this thing ever was driven without having the fifth wheel hooked up is if we happen to go get fuel. And that could be a 1 or 2 mile drive, a 5 mile drive, hardly ever more than that. So 98% of the time hooked up, and right now, at this very moment, in all that travel, we have got 8.2 miles per gallon. That's not too bad. Anyway, I want to share that with you. I know a lot of people are curious about the performance of the truck. Let me share something else we did into. So, it's not a hot day. It's early morning. It's probably in the 70s right now. We're traveling flat. We'll be up in the mountains here pretty soon. The coolant temp is at 212. The transmission temp's at 163. And the oil temperature's at 217. That's kind of where it averages out. Even when we get in the mountains, if it's on a warmer day, it doesn't get much hotter than that. So anyway, there's a little info for you. I thought I'd share it with you, being we're doing a boring freeway travel day. Right, now we're going to cruise through a little town of Sutherland. So this is a great spot to cut off and go to the coast if you ever going up and down I-5 and have a hankering to head to the Oregon coast. This is one of the exits that'll get you over that direction. And there you go. You pretty much saw Sutherland from the freeway. As they say, the best way to travel across the country and not see a thing is to travel it on a freeway. Now here's an area of interest that's coming up. That truck in front of us made me think of it because it says 7 Feathers. So at this exit, Canyonville, there's a casino here, there is a truck stop here, and up behind the truck stop, which is going to be off to the right, you might see it coming up here pretty soon, is a really nice campground. Diane and I camped in that campground. As soon as it opened up, we actually were doing a maiden voyage on a Weekend Warrior fifth wheel. We took our 40-foot Tiffin motorhome up there for its maiden voyage. So we've been up there and camped a few times. We used to live not too far from this area. You can see the truck stop off to the right there. And off to the left up here is the 7 Feathers Casino. So if you find yourself cruising up and down I-5s, north or south, around the Canyonville area, might be a spot you might want to hang out. Here's something else I'll share with you on this boring freeway driving day. As most of you know, Diane and I travel in separate cars. So I drive the truck, pull the fifth wheel. Diane drives the car behind, and that works out really well for us. We've been doing that for a couple, 3 years now or longer. And we enjoy that. And we really love having that second car once we get to a destination to drive around touring instead of driving the truck around. It works really good for us. And on travel days, we don't typically travel that far. So being separated is not a big deal. She just follows behind. And on days like today, she knows where we're going, so if we get separated, she can just get there. And if we do go through areas that we might get separated, some big congested city or maybe a bunch of stoplights, We will put the address in her GPS so she will eventually show up if we ever get separated, and we've never ever yet been separated. And along with that, we use walkie-talkies so we can communicate at all times. We see something, if there's something dangerous up in the road, I can let her know. If I see a deer up on the hill, I can let her know. Whatever it may be, we can just yak back and forth. It works really well for us. The only things that do cause an issue once in a while, it's not huge, is that Diane's kind of a passive driver, I guess I'll use as terminology. She can't get mad at me. She knows I talk about this all the time. And she loves to put her car on cruise when she follows. Now she has one of those cruise controls that keeps a distance behind me. So she sets it like 3 car lengths. And that's fine, we just cruise along. But 3 car lengths, if you get in traffic, that allows enough room for a car to get between us. Well, if a car gets between us, her car picks it up, and she drops back 3 car lengths, which in turn leaves room for a car to get between her and that car. The car gets in, pretty soon she's 3 car lengths behind that, and it can keep on going. And if you drive down the road for quite a while, there can be quite a few cars that can get in between there if you have a lot of traffic. And next thing you know, I look in the mirror and I go, where's Diane? She might be 2 miles or further behind. So then I get on the radio and I'll tell her, hey, get your butt up here. You're back there too far. And she goes, oh, okay, I just been listening to Bruce Springsteen, and I'll catch up. And away we go. But Diane's not very techy. And on these walkie-talkies, right next to the volume, when you pick it up, there's a channel changer right there. And more times than I can count, well, not that much, but once in a while, she will get talking and she'll do something and she would change the station. Well, then pretty soon I'm going, hey, where you at? I don't get her. Hey, where you at? Well, if I can't see her in the mirror, I don't know if she had an issue back there somewhere, had a flat tire, got in a wreck, I don't know. Your mind wanders. So then I start looking, should I stop? Should I stop? Well, if I just start switching the channel knob on mine one at a time and go, Diane, are you there? Usually I find her one or two channels away from the channel we normally run on. Funny stuff, just things we deal with on travel day. But I thought I'd share that with you too. Another topic I'll touch base on our boring freeway travel day is fuel. We've been asked a few times how we handle fuel while we're traveling down the road and around the country. So one thing I really love about our setup is that we have a 90-gallon auxiliary tank in the back, and we have a 52-gallon OEM tank on the truck. Now the way our system works is as soon as the OEM tank, we operate off the OEM tank running down the road. As soon as the OEM tank gets to 3/4, the pump kicks in, it brings fuel from our auxiliary tank to the OEM tank. As soon as the OEM tank is full, pump kicks off. Repeat that over and over again, right? So for me, now let me mention also that the auxiliary tank in reality is a 90-gallon tank, but it only uses about 80 gallons of that 90 before the pump stops drawing fuel out of there. So I just know that to be a fact. So when we get down to a 3/4 tank in this and we start pumping out of that auxiliary tank and it stops pumping fuel out, the light will go out. When it stops pumping, the light on the dash will finally go out and say, hey, I'm not taking any more fuel out of the auxiliary tank, so you're on your own. And that usually puts us between the 3/4 and full, because it starts drawing at 3/4, so somewhere in the middle of 3/4 and full, it'll empty out the auxiliary tank. So that gives us, 40 some gallons probably that we can operate on. And if you figure 8 miles per gallon and 40 gallons, we have quite a ways to go before we have to get fuel. But as soon as that auxiliary tank goes empty for me, I'm looking for a fuel stop. Cut and dry. I never want to get down to that pucker moment pulling this fifth wheel around the country. I don't want to be that guy. So it keeps the stress out of my mind, right? I don't need any more stress. So that's how I operate. That's how we do fuel. Well, we're getting close to the end of our travel day. We're going by the south exit of Grants Pass right now. We have about 13 more miles to go to our exit, and then the campground is just right up around the corner. Some of you that have been watching the channel may recognize the campground we're going to be staying at, so let's see if you recognize it. Alright, we're going to be taking the next exit up here. It's going to be exit 43. Then we're going to cross over the freeway. You'll see the overpass right up there. And the campground we're going to be staying at is just on the other side of those trees. It's called Rock Point RV Park. Now, we have stayed here before. In fact, this year we did a campground review on that already. I'll put a link to that campground review right up here somewhere so you can take a look at it in case you want to. And we're going to go in there and see if we can't get in a little bit earlier. It is almost 12:30. Their check-in's at 2. We know that their check-out is at 11. And the last time we stayed here, they had no problem with us coming in a couple hours early, so I imagine we'll have the same luck this time. The office is closed, but they do have a camp host on site that takes care of all the arrivals, so we're going to run down here and see what happens. Now, the last time we came in on a Sunday, they had an envelope taped on the door giving us our instructions. But we also had a call the day before. We didn't get that this time. Now, there's no envelope on this one this time. So we will go take a look. All right, I'll try to make this long story short. Our arrival on Sunday at Rock Point wasn't as smooth as it was in the past. As it turned out, there was someone in the site we were supposed to be in. I think they just messed up on their departure day, and the downside of not having a manager on duty in the weekend is nobody's there to keep track of that and knock on doors and say, hey, you need to pack up and leave. Luckily for us, there was a site open right next door to it, and I knocked on the door of the camp host, and he said just park there. Luckily, we were able to because it was 90-some degrees outside and hot. We were able to hook up to power. We spent the night in that site. Julie, the manager of the park, came in the next day, worked some magic, and made it so we could actually stay in this site for the entire 3 weeks we're here. So hats off to her for doing that. It all worked out well. Then I had a little medical thing I got to take care of to our surprise, going along with the heart deal I have going on. And we are going to leave this park for 2 weeks to a park that has a 2-week limit. And Julie worked some things around and got us a spot we can come back to. She said, just we'll wing it at the end. We'll make sure you have a spot till you work through your medical issue. Which, again, hats off to her for making that happen. You know, she's going above and beyond her duties, and she deserves a shout out. So anyway, hopefully you enjoyed the ride down from Coburg. Hopefully you enjoyed some of the information I shared on the truck and the performance. I know we get a lot of questions on that truck. And driving down the freeway was a perfect time to talk about those. Not much to pay attention to than driving straight. So if you enjoyed that, how about considering giving us a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, consider hitting that subscribe button. As always, have a great day. We'll see you in the next video.